All right, all right. Happy New Year. So this is what's going on. I have a high-end consulting program. It's $10,000. If you want in, my email address is below, and this is something we could talk about. Also, the best thing for the majority of you is the King program. The links below are the payment plan. Those are the only things I'm offering for you. Now, here's the thing. If you're one of those people who's asking if there's a money back guarantee, don't sign up because you already have risk in your mind. It's like, well, if this doesn't work out, because number one, there is a money back guarantee, but you got to do the work. You got to do the work. And a lot of you guys are not going to do the work. This program would challenge you, it would push you, it would create new vectors in who you are. And a lot of you don't want that. Yeah, it's like, woo, that's hard. And you don't want to be rich. Let me just go ahead and say this. You're looking for some Erica Williams, sad, this whole data, how to make money from your smartphone. Let me go ahead and give you a grand view. When I was making my money, I had full-size computers. I could not do what I was doing on a smartphone. It would have been impossible. It would have been impossible. Also, another comment. I had more grown-ass babies who would leave these comments full of emotions like, you can't even communicate like an adult. So going forward, I see that type of comment, delete and block, because you don't want to be educated. And this is the thing. There's nothing wrong with being financially illiterate. There's nothing wrong with it at all. But the thing is, you want to stay financially illiterate. You don't want to be educated. You don't want to be told you're wrong. You don't want to elevate. You don't want to upgrade. You want to stick in this little pool that for some reason you can go in the stock market and make a lot of money without without a large capital outlay. Yesterday in the Keith Gill video, Keith Gill started with $53,000. 99% of you don't have $53,000. You just don't have that money. And this is why you hope and cling to, oh, I could go ahead and get me something going on with $500 and build me a multi-million. You are just a complete and utter dumbass. And you want to stick to that. So I see comments by you folks, delete and block. There's no point, because I was having a conversation. I mathematically proved my point, and he was like, and I realized you cannot have a conversation with a baby. A baby's like, why? Literally, that's what you are. So today we're going to talk about why BlackRock has 9.5 trillion in commercial real estate, but fools say it's not wise to invest in commercial real estate. All right, so let's kind of get into this. All right, share screen. Be sure. Let's go into this. All right. Make sure. All right. The largest institutional investors in apartments and commercial real estate. BlackRock, total AUM 9.5 trillion. Real estate allocation 70 to 80 billion. How they invest, private real estate funds, RE ties, and direct institutional deals. Largest asset manager on earth. Real estate is a core allocation, not a side bet. Blackstone, total AUMI 1 trillion. Real estate alum 3.25 billion. Brookfield Management, total 850 million plus a billion. Real estate 260 billion. And I can go on and on and on and on and on. Greystar, 300 billion. CB Richard Ellis, 145 billion. And the list just goes on and on and on and on. Yet for some reason, there's a ton of people who keep telling me that Chris, number one, cannot make more money from institutional investments, which is fundamentally false. Number two, they want me to do the work. It's like, find me a deal so I can do the comps. I'm not your bitch. You can go online and find a deal and do the comps your own self, you lazy motherfucker. So once again, we're taking on a different tone, a different cut. Because like, I know a lot of you like Chris, and a lot of you like, man, he's just talking about Chris. There's all this other. Look, this is the thing. I'm not challenging just Chris. I'm challenging your worldview of investing. And the vast majority of you are under this false assumption that investing is faster than starting a business. It's not. It's not. How do I know? Let me go ahead and do this. Give me a list of the 400 world's richest families. This would consider the billionaires class and their assets and how they made money. Okay. This is going to be very, very different. So you will see the billionaire class is not made of investors. Warren Buffett, we'll talk about him in a minute. All right. All right. So they can do a 500 to 100 list. All right. So we would have to go to Forbes. It says Forbes. All right. Because that was just too much of a load for it to handle. All right. Mm-hmm. World's richest families. Waltons, 5.13 billion. Walmart. Al Naran, Abidu ruling family. Oil. Al Thani, wealth from oil and gas. Koch brothers, industrial energies. Mars confectionery pet care. Abani, Reliance India. Wertheimer, Chanel luxury fashion. See, all these people have businesses. None of them are investments. None of them. All right, so let's go ahead. Why do people mistakenly think that Warren Buffett is an investor versus someone who buys and manages businesses? Now, all these families have businesses. The billionaire class, they have businesses, right? People mistake this because they confuse the rapper with the operating reality. Warren Buffett is publicly described as an investor, but in practice, he's a capital allocator and business owner who uses the stock market primarily as his acquisition channel, not a trading venue. The core misunderstanding: most only people see stock tickers, quarterly filings, public market quotes. So they assume Warren Buffett's a stock picker. What they miss is that Berkshire Hathaway is not a fund, it's a decentralized operating conglomerate that owns businesses outright. Buffett is a business buyer first. Buffett himself said repeatedly, I'm not interested in buying pieces of paper. I'm interested in buying businesses. So that's Warren Buffett. And a lot of people get hung up on, you know, let's just go ahead and have this little chit chat real quick. All right. Let me go ahead and give you what's in my heart. The vast majority of you are lazy. And this is why you're on this investing tick. I literally saw, well, buying an apartment complex is buying a liability and investing is just printing pure cash. I got a question for you. How many of you would go in for a job and they said, well, we're going to use you as an investment. And because you're an investment, we're going to pay you a lower salary. How many of you would raise your hand for that deal? Nobody. You were like, wait a minute, you're going to pay me less money? I'm not here. I'm not working. But for some reason, you fools think it's okay to have an investment and to make less money. Let me say this fundamentally, that if Chris Sane put together a proper team and started buying commercial real estate, he would make more money. And the fact that Chris will not respond, because he's not going to respond, because this would damage his brand for him to do a video. Hey guys, here's the reality. I make the majority of my money through my trading and stuff, and it's not through investments. That would tarnish his brand. So he's not going to do that. But the reality is he makes the majority of his money from having a business. And if he was to take that 10 million and invest in real estate, he would make more money. Why? BlackRock has 9.5 trillion in commercial real estate. Why are these big major companies buying commercial real estate Why they're buying commercial real estate, and then you clowns, and I say clowns, well, it's a liability. You got like, I'm about to say something. Years ago, I was on the deck, and my neighbor was out in the back in his pool, and I went over and started talking to him. And we literally had the conversations that I've been privileged to. We were just sitting there talking. He's like, "Hey, what's going on, man?" And we're sitting there talking. Then he began to tell me about his financial situation. It wasn't like he was bragging. It was just, this is my life. This is the way it is. And he was talking about what his father left him. His father left him $25 million. And to his own credit, he was able to generate $30 million. So he had a net worth of $55 million. And this is just a casual conversation. You want to know why? Because I lived in the neighborhood. Because I drove a fucking Porsche. I was a neighbor. I wasn't some guy from down the street. And here's the thing. Most of you have never been around any money management conversations. I'm literally out here talking. Oh yeah, we pay cash for a house. How many of you know people who pay cash for their house? I know quite a few who pay cash for their house. And this kind of goes ahead and knocks Anton Daniels bullshit. Like, I rent because, no. Years ago, I was supposed to be doing a storage auction reality show. And I went to the Sovereign, which is the tallest building, commercial real estate. It's a condo in Buckhead. And I remember the lady who showed me, her name was Burma. And she was telling me that the number of people in the building who were only in the building part of the year. These people did not rent, did not lease. They actually bought these buildings, bought these condos. And then they had another condo somewhere else that they bought. And they had another condo or house somewhere else that they bought. Well, we're going to spend the winter in France, or we're going to spend it's totally different. And I think the majority of you, there's two camps. There's a group of people who don't know wealth and understand they know wealth, and they want to learn more. There's a group of folks who want to learn, and there's a group of people who are other dumbasses who want to sit and fight with me, even though I provide mathematical proof, because you are a complete fucking dumbass. You don't want to learn anything. You don't want to level up. You don't want to create anything. All you want to do is stay in your little lane of stupidity. And going forward, your comments will be deleted. We will not get into fights. We will not, because I'm just sitting here. I went back and forth with this fool. And I had to remember, you can't argue with a fool. You can't, because the fool is going to hold this stupid ass position and he's going to think he's right. Once again, I have lived next door to wealth. I have friends. I have a friend who started a bank. Do you have a friend who started a bank? And I remember he was telling me about it. It's like, yeah, we put in $1 million. He put in just a simple conversation. Once again, these folks were not bragging. They were stating how their life was. He started a bank. I have a friend that owns a factory in India. He just, oh yeah, we own the factory. Once again, these folks are not bragging, but they're talking to me because they see me as someone in their circle. Okay? And the vast majority of you, like, once again, one of my comments was like, how much money you made? Then someone was like, I said, I made 25 million. How much money you make? No response. See, I'm not going to sit here and do your work for you, because essentially the way that the question was posed, that you cannot fight that. You cannot go back and forth with that. So you want to change the parameters of the conversation. And like, well, how many of these deals have you done? Right? This isn't the question. The question is, Chris Sane would make more money with a proper real estate investment than he does from dividend stock. And the reason that he does dividend stock, because that reinforces his brand, which keeps the lie going. Some of you actually believe that you can do a roaring kitty, kiss girl thing. And once again, roaring kitty didn't do this with like $500. He did it with 53,000. That was his starting point. Let me go ahead and say it. The majority of you don't even have $10,000 in the bank. The majority of you. And then when we start getting to 20, 30, 40, 50, 100K cash money in the bank, you don't have it. And you want to know why you won't have it? Because you're stupid. And why you're stupid? Because you will not learn anything. You want to sit and fight and root and go on and on about some shit that doesn't make any sense to you. So going forward, your comments will be deleted. We're not going to have any arguments because I really thought about this. It's like these folks do not like this whole notion of, hey, you know, first of all, most of you guys are not institution investors. Most of you don't understand the language. Most of you don't understand the policies. So this is one big issue for you to actually solve. This is a very big issue for you to actually solve. So one of the things that you need to do is to position yourself to be a winner, to position yourself to win. And you cannot do that by being a stupid dumbass. Yeah, I'm saying this. Don't buy my course because you're too fucking stupid to complete it. You'll be in there like, because you're too fucking stupid. And this is why you're on Chris Tane's dick, because you feel that you can get some investments to make all this money, not have to go out and work, not have to build anything, not have to complete anything. And it ain't happening. It's just not happening. But once again, institutions are spending trillions on commercial real estate, and these commercial real estate is funding pensions for teachers, firefighters, police officers, pensions. This is lifelong money. As long as these people are alive, they will get their pension. I mean, I can't be any more plain than that. And a lot of you guys are in this weird space. Like I said, going back to if someone's like, well, we're going to consider your investment and we're going to pay you less, most of you would be like, hey, they ain't going to work for me. But for some reason, you feel that because it's an investment, you can have a lower return. That's perfectly acceptable. I guarantee you, and I'm going to say this, the majority of you have never had any real money. The majority of you have never had $1 million cash in the bank. The majority of you have never made money. The majority of you have never made $100,000 in a month. The majority of you have never seen any real money. So these conversations about real money, investing, and scaling on the institution level, goes over your head. Goes right over your head. So to the loyal group of folks who really want to level up, we got a lot of stuff that's coming. A lot of stuff that's coming. So for the folks who want to leave decent comments, because I'm amazed at how many people came in there and said, well, Chris cannot invest. I'm like, all right, the way that I see it, and I could be wrong, Chris has 10 million in dividend stock. So that's cash. And then he could sell that in a day. Then he can go out and buy a piece of real estate. And I believe he makes $1 million or $1.5 million a month. So he could go 10 months, reload again, buy another piece of real estate, and just keep doing this until he has 5 or 6 pieces of real estate, and his wealth trajectory, it totally changes. And it makes me wonder, everyone's like, Chris is a nice guy. He's trying to help people. If Chris is so smart, how come he isn't making wiser financial decisions? Just a thought.